This starts off as an easy match, but it doesn't last long. Two sides fighting for an important 3 points for very different reasons. As the temperature rises, small moments start to stack up. Pressure builds, challenges get heavier, and the margin for error begins to shrink. By the second half, the focus shifts away from the football and onto me as the referee. And this one moment could change the entire match.
So, we start off the game and the goalkeeper lumps it long. And one thing I've kind of noticed about myself recently is my body language on the pitch is not necessarily it doesn't look super engaged sometimes. I look quite relaxed. So in this early part of the game, I really made an effort to make sure that I felt and looked engaged. And then we have to give an offside decision straight away. The lad comes back from an onside position. So he's behind defenders, then he comes back onside. When it comes to offside, it doesn't matter where you are when you receive the ball. It's where you are when the ball is played. So although he's onside when he receives the ball, because he was originally in an offside position when the ball was played, that makes him offside. So immediately we have to make a big old sprint. You'll see that the goalkeeper plays the ball long, and this lad misses the ball, and we have to get into a good area. What you'll notice is as that ball is in the air, I'm looking towards play, because a lot of people have told me in the past, Eric, the ball cannot make an offence, and they're right, the ball can't make an offence. So I am looking directly at play, because the players will tell me where that ball's about to land based on their actions. So don't worry about the ball, don't watch it like I always used to. Get your eyes down on play, because the ball's not going to do anything wrong. I do, and at this moment I kind of realise that this lad in green is likely not going to be able to play the ball, and so at this point I'm really thinking about starting to make a bit of a sprint. Okay, I'm worried that he might miss out on this ball, and so it's very important for me to get forward. He does miss that ball, and so now here I've got two options. Either you can drive through the middle, okay, directly towards play. That's the quickest way to get there. Or you can decide to go wider because you're gonna get a better angle going wider. So it's really a judgment call that you've got to make in the moment. Is it more important to be close, or is it more important to have a better angle? That's up to you in the moment. I decide to drive out left and get an angle on things, because if I was to drive into the middle, I wouldn't really have an angle on what's about to happen. So for me, I decide to go wider. From this position now, I can see any foul that might happen. I'm pretty much in line with the edge of the box, which is kind of a nice place to be. And so I'm right here now if there's any foul that would occur. One little change I would make though, is at this point, I would start to move in towards the box, as really, what is that player with the ball gonna do? He's either gonna square it across goal, right, as he's done, or he's gonna cut the ball back. So at this point, I really need to be working my way into the box and be more central. I figured this out a little bit late, so I've got to make a bit of a quicker run across. But if I'd have noticed it a bit earlier, I basically would have been about here at this point, which would have been a lot closer to the play on the sideline. Obviously, if you're out there in a team of three in this position, your assistant would be able to help you out. But I'm a referee out here by myself. I don't have any assistants. These are substitutes from the clubs, and they're just there for doing the offsides and the ball in and out of play. So all the fouls are on me, so I've got to make sure I'm in a good position. Thankfully, nothing comes of it and we play out, but it just shows how important it is to get into good positions, especially early on in the game. Now, a very similar thing happens straight away, and you'll see that I get a little bit caught out, right? I'm not quite up with play. So when this lad goes to play the ball, what am I doing? I'm stood still, looking at the ball, admiring the technique on this pass, right? Which is not what I should be doing. I know that he's about to play the ball long based on his body shape, so I should start moving forward. So we get a little bit caught out here. This lad drives in, the green defender makes a great block and it goes out, but you'll see that I'd say I'm probably 15 to 20 yards away from the box there. So I'm about 30 yards away from play. That's a little bit too far. And if I'd have preempted that pass like I did the first time, I'd have been in a lot better of a position. You'll see that we get shouts for a high foot here, but the lad ducks his head down, the player in blue pulls his foot out. This is not a high foot situation. Also, there's actually no such thing as a high foot, right? Otherwise bicycle kicks wouldn't be allowed. What we would call this as referees is playing in a dangerous manner. And so basically that means you play in a way that the other player can't play because it risks injury. This is not one of those situations. But yeah, when people say high foot, what they really mean is this is playing in a dangerous manner. And then it takes about 12 minutes for us to get even a chat with a player. So we tell this lad 3 times to take the throw in your half, your half, your half. And so we blow the whistle before he releases it so that we don't have to reverse the throw. Because if you take a throw in from the wrong position, it's technically a foul throw. At this point, he seems a little bit upset and he's giving me a few words. And so I stop that on the sideline just to have a quick word with him. And I just tell him, mate, like, that's not going to fly this match. Don't talk to me like that. And then the captain comes in and I explain to him the reaction I've had over such a trivial thing, and just have a word, please, mate, because I don't want issues like that. So a lot of teams now play out from the back, right? Pep Guardiola started it in the Premier League, and now grassroots teams are doing it on a Sunday morning. It is remarkable. Now, thankfully, both these teams are actually pretty decent footballers, and we're playing on a lovely surface. So it's not quite the cabbage patch that we have sometimes when we referee. However, for me, in games like this, you have to be very, very switched on, especially when teams are playing out from the back, because there's a lot more mistakes that will happen at this level. So as that ball's getting played in, you'll see that the ball's getting played into the centre back and that this striker is starting to press. Now at this point, this is called a trigger. So this basically triggers something in my mind. I've seen this before. This is a dangerous situation, so I need to get in and basically try and deal with it if something happens. So you'll see my body position starts to move and I start to make my way into towards play. And that's because when the player's getting heavily pressed, there's a big chance that that ball could turn over. And in this position, the chance of the ball turning over is high and it's going to be on the edge of the box. So then you've got dogso consideration, potential red cards. There's just so much that can happen here. So as that ball gets played in, we start sprinting in to make sure that we're on top of it. If it does turn over, thankfully he receives it and plays it back and we can come back out. But it just shows how important it is to be dynamic when refereeing. And then there is a quick turnover of possession. I notice this, so I start running in. The goalkeeper comes flying out, makes a great save, and so we give a corner kick. But again, just shows when teams play out from the back, there's always a high chance that ball could turn over. So stay on your toes and try and get in there. We give our first free kick for this foul. It's a very clear push in the back for me. The lad goes up to try and win the header and he's got his hands on his back and he pushes him. And so that for me was a clear free kick to give. And then subsequently from that free kick, the team in blue go 1-0 up. Again, the same situation, right? The goalkeeper plays it out to the centre back. They're trying to play a little ball into the pocket. And then here, again, I've kind of identified that the ball could turn over again. It does. And so we make our way in. Again, nothing comes of it, but it could have. And then out of nowhere, there's another turnover of possession. So for me, there didn't feel like much danger in this moment, and so I wasn't really pressing in. For me, the lad had a few options, right? For me, it looked like he was shaping up to go long, and he also could have played it into here. He opts to play it down the middle, which is obviously fine, but then this lad in blue cuts that pass out and it falls to them. So from here, I have to make a big sprint in because obviously something might happen. He takes the shot, and it's just wide. I give a foul against the blue 10 here. From my position, it looked more like hands in the back, looked more like a push, which is what I said to him, mate, it looks to me like you pushed him over. Here, I'm not really sure that's enough for a foul personally. I wouldn't give it if I had the angle of the camera. But from where I was, it looked like he'd pushed him in the back, which, as you can see, was not actually the case. So then we give a foul here for the number 10. So it looked to me here like he'd got tripped, and then as he's breaking away, he gets tripped again a little bit there. And so I was waiting to see if the ball would release. It doesn't, and so I bring it back for the free kick. Then I give a free kick against the fullback here for holding, and you'll even hear their own player say, mate, you make it so obvious with your arms around him. So from that free kick, there's a long ball played up by blue. Now, in the first half, I spoke about looking at play, but it's also important to have a trailing eye on what's just happened. So you'll see that as that ball gets played away, there's a chance that maybe this player may commit a foul on the defender. And so we carry on watching until that kind of phase, I guess you'd call it, is over. So as we know that there's no foul, we then can glance away at the ball. And now we're looking at a new situation. We've got to deal with this one. So lad misses. And so again, we're immediately making a sprint into there because he could be away and he could be an on goal. At this point, I start to drive wider because I don't really have an angle on what's happening. I'm kind of looking at their back, and it's likely that this guy in blue is going to start to drive in towards goal, and so then I'm really not going to have an angle. So I need to get wider to be able to see it. This isn't the case. He cuts the ball back and the ball turns over. But again, you just need to make sure that you're trying all the time to get into the best position you can, because play is so dynamic, it's forever changing, and I'm obviously learning this all the time, and it's never ever going to be perfect. Most of the time it's not going to be perfect, but it's just so important that we as referees make the effort to get into a good position, even if we can't actually get there, right? We can get a better one always. We then chalk off this goal for handball. You'll see that his arm is well away from his body. Actually, yeah, I mean, it was certainly deliberate. I've got a perfect angle on it. So we blow the whistle before he even shoots, because it was so clear to me. But yeah, I didn't think it was like unsporting in the sense that it needed a yellow card. We kind of had a laugh about it, and that was that. So this is an interesting one. So the assistant referee raised his flag for an offside. He will have raised his flag because he thought that this player was in an offside position. The flag's gone up by this point already, and it's clear to me that that player's not going to play the ball. So I put my thumb up to say thank you, but we're going to play on. But then the ball falls to that lad that was originally offside. And even if he wasn't offside, he was definitely offside after this flick on. And so we blow the whistle for offside. The team are quite upset because he's like, oh, he's put the flag up. And I'm explaining, yes, mate, he put the flag up because he thought it was going to you, but then the flick-ons happened, so that's why I've given it. So I've given a thumbs up to the club assistant, I've explained to the lads what's happened, and we've dealt with it. And then shortly after that, the team in blue go 2-0 up. By the way, how good of a first touch was this from the blue player? Oh, that is brilliant. So then we get a penalty decision to make. What do you guys think? Come on, let me know what your first instinct was. For me, this is not enough for a penalty, okay? So these two players are jostling for the ball. He's got his hand on the blue player's shoulder. That's fine for me personally. The lad pushes him away. He then got a little bit of a hold of his shirt, but then he lets go. For me, this is not enough for a foul. Yes, there's a slight bit of holding. Yes, you see the shirt come away, but I don't think this actually impedes his progress, and the holding for me is not like sustained. It doesn't happen for a long time. For me, it's not enough for a penalty, but let me know what you guys think. And then we give our first foul that really needs any sort of talking to. As you'll see, the game has been played in such good spirits so far. There was really no risk of this game boiling over or any temperature kind of rising. So we pull the lad in with the captain as well, because for me this is very close to stopping a promising attack, and it's a deliberate trip. The game just doesn't need it. So I'm just explaining, mate, no one would argue if I gave you a yellow card here. I don't mind an accidental foul, but that is a deliberate trip, and I don't want to see that again. But would you guys have given a yellow card here? What would you have done? So we give a foul here against the blue number 9, and it's really clear why I've given a foul against him. You'll see that he's not even looking at the ball. He's just looking directly at the man the whole time. And then as he jumps up again, he's just looking at the man. He's not trying to play the ball at all. There's nothing malicious in it. He's just, yeah, jumping into him, being a bit inconsiderate really. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is half time. I hope you've enjoyed the match so far. This video is sponsored by absolutely nobody. If you want to support the channel, you can join the membership down below. If you like these episodes, you get even more content in there. You get to see what happens before the game, after the game, during half time, full time, all of that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can join the membership down below. It's 99p. And if you'd like to see more of the content, then you can do so there. Let's go back in. And then we have an interesting decision to make here. The lad goes down with a big old scream, and it really just didn't look like a foul to me. So the ball comes bouncing in, and it looked to me like the lad had got his foot and poked the ball away, which isn't really the case by the looks of it. What actually looks like has happened is the number 9 has gone to kick it. He's actually miskicked it to the right, and then that lad's caught him on the foot. I couldn't actually see whether he'd kicked his foot. The logic to me said, well, the ball's gone that way, The green player put his foot out to win the ball that way. And so I thought what had happened was the green player had won the ball, the blue player had kicked the underside of his leg, and for me that is not a foul, but maybe I'm thinking about it the wrong way. What do you guys think? Obviously it looks like this is a foul. It looks like he's actually miskicked it and then the lad's caught him, so that obviously would be a foul. Then he starts to get a bit visually upset, right? So I call the captain in to have a word. Yes, he's upset that I've not given the foul, but I don't want him to have an outburst and get into trouble. So I just explained to him, this is what it looked like to me. It looked like the lad had played the ball, you then kicked the underside of his foot. If I've got it wrong, I've got it wrong. That's on me, but don't get yourself into trouble. And then we have another penalty decision to make. So the ball gets played into blue. These players are going shoulder to shoulder and he goes down, but it is not a foul. For me, again, it's just a coming together. Stuff that happens in football. This is not a foul for me, so no penalty. And then we get probably our biggest decision of the game. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Ball gets played through. Is he going to get to the ball? Is he not? I don't know. And then he gets pulled down. You've got to make a decision straight away. What would you give? In these situations, we call this a dogzo situation. And with dogzo, that means it is a red card, and that is denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. When determining whether a foul is dogzo or not, we have to take into account 4 main factors. 1 is distance from the goal. Okay, how far away from the goal are they? 2 is, are there any covering defenders? 3, what is the direction of play? Okay, is it towards goal? And 4, control. Do they have control of the ball, or are they likely to regain control of the ball? Okay, so those are the 4 things you have to take into consideration. If it doesn't meet all 4 of those criteria, you cannot give a red card for denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, because by definition it would not be obvious. For me, I believe he's going to get to that ball before the goalkeeper. There are no covering defenders, it's towards goal, and he'd be about 20 yards out, and so I show a red card. For me, this is a clear dogzo scenario. Let me know what you guys think. As referees, we obviously process this in about 2 seconds flat. I don't know what the time was between the foul and me giving the red card. Let's have a look. Foul happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the red card is out the pocket. But I'd made my decision about 2 or 3 seconds before that. So you've got to make a decision so quick as a referee, and that's why sometimes we get it wrong, because you're making a judgment call on what you see in the moment, and it happens so fast. But yeah, in this moment, I decided on a red card. Let me know if you guys think it's correct or not. There was a few different opinions when I sent this to people. Now, whenever you show a red card for things like this, you're always going to have players surrounding you saying that it's not right, it's wrong. Look, ref, I would have got the ball first. And it's just important to stay calm. They are shocked, in a bit of like disbelief that their teammate's just been sent off. So stay relaxed, ask them to move away, and just go through the process that you need to go through. So we give this foul for this push in the back. You'll see again as the lad goes up, he just pushes in. There's no real intent to play the ball. And from that free kick, I have a subsequent penalty decision to make. So ball gets played in. The lad goes up to win the header, wins it, and the goalkeeper just clatters him afterwards. The ball's cleared off the line, and so I decide to give a penalty. For me, the reason this is a penalty is because as the goalkeeper's come out to punch it, he has completely missed the ball, and he's punched the player in the back of the head. This, for me, is reckless play. Don't get me wrong, the goalkeeper is fully within his rights to come and challenge for that ball. However, the manner in which he's done it, for me, is reckless, and so because the ball's not gone in, I've decided to give a penalty. Because it's reckless play, it means that the goalkeeper is also shown a yellow card. Even though a penalty's been given, it doesn't downgrade the card because it's reckless. Can the blue team convert the penalty? So we get a corner for Cleve, and there are a few handball shouts. We get one here, which is not, it comes off his thigh, that is not handball. And the second one hits the lad in his thigh and then his stomach again, and there's another shout for handball. Neither of these were handball, and so I wave it away. I give a big no penalty so everybody knows, and we're away. And then Cleve get one back. The player in blue then is complaining about pushing the back, and I can understand that it feels that way, but this is a little bit different, right? The lad's got his arms out, he's not actually pushing him, he's just got his arms out feeling where he is, and for me that's not an offence. Then I miss a foul out here by the dugout, so it's a bit of a confusing one. So Yeah, I should just never miss that. I think I'm a bit too far away. So the player in blue pokes the ball, then the green player pokes it and gets taken out by the player in blue. This is obviously a foul, and it should have been a foul, and I'm not really sure why I missed it. I just don't think I didn't really see what had happened, because it's such a clear foul, and then we give a foul against green here, which is obviously frustrating. Should have been a foul for Cleve in the first place, and yeah, it's one I missed. You'll see that as we're here, we're telling the goalkeeper where to take it from, and we're both looking at each other, and then he looks away at the ball. He then decides to move the ball and delay the restart, and so I decide to show him a yellow card. This is not the first time I'd asked him to get moving. There are a lot of goal kicks, etc., where I asked him to speed it up, and as they are leading and there's only one goal, there's a big incentive for the blue team to delay the restart. Again, calls for a foul, but it's not a foul in my opinion. Equally, right, we are right towards the end of the game here, maybe in like the 80, well, you'll see the time in the corner. We're in this minute, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm still on top of play and making a lot of effort even late in the game. So the ball turns over, so we make a good sprint to get within a good proximity of play. And then we've got a good angle on it the whole time. We're right there the entire time. It's just a challenge for the ball, both players, no foul, and again, we're right on top of it to wave it away. If I'm 40 yards away, it makes it very difficult. Cleve then go through on goal, have a chance to equalise, and unfortunately can't make it happen. But again, I'm really happy because I was right up in that corner, and then I'm right back up this other end, and then by the time we give the goal kick, we're right on the edge of that box again. We then give this free kick here. You'll see that he's out there pointing at the ball. He doesn't win the ball. He just takes out the player. For me, this is not stopping a promising attack, and it's not really reckless play, so it's just a foul. The lad's taking the touch out for a goal kick, so it's not promising attack. We have to do our best Matrix impression and dodge the ball, and we're into the last couple minutes of the game. We get this foul out on the touchline, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is full time. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. Thank you so much for the support. If you want to watch more videos like this, click right here, and I will see you next week.